Hello my crafty friends, and welcome to another video by yours truly. And as you can see below down there, this is what we're going to be doing. Well, we're going to do one of them, and it's probably going to be this one, and it's obviously a Christmas scene, and we've got a bit of stamping, a little bit of ink blending, bit of heat embossing going on with the snow, and a nice little Santa going across the moon. And again down here we got a little bit of shading going on with a bit of glitter, and in the trees bit of watercoloring going on just to highlight the fact they're green trees, they're evergreen, blah, and a little bit of brown on the chalet hut. So there we go, and that is all taken from Tim Holtz Winterscape's stamp set. And as you can see, I have already made my masks, and I've got a little one down there as well, and so I've just put those back on ready to be used. And obviously I've done one for the snowman, which I did earlier. So that's the stamps we will be using. And the other bits and pieces that we will be using, we're going to have a bit of a hill mask going on, and we've got the Tim Holtz moon mask collection, and I've got some I don't know if I think I'm going to use the oxides this time. So I've got a waterproof ink pad for when we do the shed, the treescapes, you know, with the chalet. And I've got some oxides. I've got Lost Shadow, and I've also got Hickory Smoke, but I think I just used the Lost Shadow over the moon. And I've got some oxides. I've got Broken China, I have got Tumbled Glass, and I have got Wilted Violet. Now whether I will use all of those remains to be seen. Of course, if you haven't got the oxides and you've only got the normal distress ink pads, they're equally as good. You can use those as well. So I'm going to put those away for the minute. Now, obviously, if you do like my videos, please like and subscribe below, and hit that bell so you will get future notifications of when I upload videos. Please subscribe if you can, that'd be absolutely awesome. Again, you will get notified of when I upload new videos. And lastly, if you can copy and paste into your own groups that you belong to, that would be absolutely awesome. So thank you very much for doing it. Right, okay, now obviously this I've done as a DL card. So and just to make you aware, and I will do this again once I've done the cutting, it will fit into a DL envelope. So you can see that. There you go. And just to prove the point further, there we go. Cool. So there's your DL envelope, and DL cards are actually quite popular. So I'm just going to slip that to one side. I'm going to put these two samples. I will explain how I did that, but it's along similar lines. So it's fairly straightforward. So yes, once you've done one, you can, and the nice thing about this, if you don't want to use the moon mask, you can use the birds on the branch, and the pine cones and the pine thing there. And if you don't want the hut, the chalet, the cabin, that's the word that I've been looking for, the cabin, the log cabin in the woods, you can use the moose. So you've got several options on this stamp sheet. So I might in future do another one, but you never know. Keep watching this space. I just might force myself to do another one. Right, okay, let's cut this down and I'll show you how I did. So obviously I've got a A4 sheet of card, and I'm going to cut this down to 20 centimeters. So there's my 20 centimeter piece of card. Keep this bit because that is the bit that you're going to be using on the front to do all your stamping and inking and all the rest of it. So keep that, and we will put this away. We will now get our little scoring tool. If you've got a scoring board, that's ideal. So naturally, because this is 20 centimeters, I'm going to line it up to the 10 centimeters down there, and then just score down the middle, and that will give us our DL card blank. And we will just make sure the corners and everything is all neat and tidy, and we just give that a little crease with our bone folder, and we can place that to one side, and we can work on our little bit here. Now on my original, just to show you, I actually cut it a bit further down to 3 1/4 inches. So we will get our cutting mat back, our cutting trimmer, and cut it down to 3 1/2 inches. Obviously make sure everything's butted up nice and neatly. All the top is up there, and down we go. And then that is our piece we were going to decorate and paint and do all sorts of exciting things with, and that is all you've wasted. How cool is that? So get rid of that, and we will bring in our blending mat, and we will start by inking and stamping our nice little tree. Oh, by the way, yeah, that's the other thing. If you haven't got those Stampscapes, there's other companies as well that do, like Winter Cabin. This is one by Inkylicious. You've got deers, a set of deers there. There's another Inkylicious log cabin, Winter Lodge trees, and you've got Sentiment, and you've got huge great big trees. So yeah, there's loads out there. And also if you want to have if you've got snowman stamps, obviously you can use a different snowman stamp. It really doesn't matter. I'm just giving you ideas of how to use these stamps and giving you some inspiration, hopefully, so you know it all helps. So I'm just going to place my stamp down, and I'm going to show you. You need to be a bit careful lining this up. So I'm just going to get a bit of copy paper, scrap copy paper, and I'm going to I think, yes, I'm going to go with my original thought, which is a bit dodgy, having an original thought, gosh. Right, so I'm going to go with VersaFine. Obviously this is a waterproof ink pad, so you need a waterproof ink pad because we're going to do a little bit of watercolouring later on. A waterproof ink pad. You can use Crafter's Companion Finesse waterproof die pad, but whatever you've got, as long as it's waterproof, as I say, this is the VersaFine, and again, if you wanted to, you could actually use actually that's what I'm going to do. I am going to change that. I am going to clean this. Sorry about this. I'm going to show you something. So I'm just going to give this a quick clean because I've changed my mind. I'm going to show you. I'm not going to cut this out. I'm going to leave this in because what I'm going to show you is, and I'm going to bring in my stamping platform, and I'm going to give that a quick dry. Put that to one side, and I'm going to bring in my stamping platform. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm going to use a different colour waterproof ink pad, basically is what I'm doing. So I need to change my platform over because it was on clear and now it's on rubber, so do make sure whatever stamp you are using. And I'm just going to bring in my piece of card and bring in, I'm going to slide that over a little bit, and then I'm going to position that slightly over, just like that. Bring my platform lid over, and what I'm going to go in with is the vintage sepia. So, and the reason I'm doing this is so that you can see, because what the two different ink pads produce, so you can then have yes, I'm going to leave that. I'm quite happy with that. That is perfectly stamped. Okay, put that to one side, and as you all know me by now, clean ink stamp, clean stamp, always clean your stamp. So, and then once we've dried that, we can position our get a clean bit of tissue, get rid of the excess, put that to one side, clean stamp, and now I know that is good to go for the next time I want to come and use it. So there we go. So put that over there. Actually, that can go because I don't need them. Right. Put the Versamark or the Versafine away. Put that over there, that over there, that over there, and then put that there. And then we don't need that. We can then bring in our piece of artwork, as will eventually be, well, that's come off, never mind, don't worry, won't make that much of a difference. And then we can put our mask down very carefully over the trees. Now, I'm not worried about that, it's just going to be fine. And then we will use our distress oxides. So get my little blending tool, get my, oh yes, before I forget, we need to put our moon down. So these are the Tim Holtz moon masks. Nearly forgot. Now the secret with this here is, what I've done is I'm using the smallest one, so there we be, we want that one, so I'm using the smallest one. And what the way I've designed this, and way I've is I want everything, if you look, everything's in the background. So the Santa is flying across, the snow is in the foreground, so it gives automatically a bit of depth to your artwork. So what we need to do is fasten this down a little bit onto the card, like so, and it depends where you want it. You can position it right bang in the middle, you can put it over the tree, but I'm going to have it like that. And then all we need to do is just get a little bit of clean tissue, and then actually I want clean tissue. Right, here we go, clean tissue. So just to protect my hands, so good wad of and this is quite a pale color, so, and I'm not going to be too precious about this. I just want a hint of that, well, hello, a bit of sky, that's all. So so yes, so just a little bit of blue, and this is quite a nice wintry, what I call a nice kind of ice blue, which is ideal for landscapes and that. So so yeah, so, and as you can see, I'm stroking up from my mask, so so I'm not rubbing against it too much. So that's okay. Just a little bit on this side, and I'm not going to go too mad with this because obviously I'm not going to spend masses of time just blending a piece of card for you. Now I'm just going to take my mask off and put that to one side, and then I'm just going to go lightly over the moon because I just don't want that to be the stark white. So I'm just lightly going because there's still enough ink on there, so it'd be enough just to get away from the harsh whiteness of the moon. So, and then you just increase the pressure as the ink dissipates. So that's fine, I'm pleased with that, that's absolutely fine, I'll get away with that. And I'm not going to bother with the purple down the bottom. Well, I'll show you what I did. It's just a little bit of wilted violet, and I just gently stroked up from the bottom, just to give it a hint of maybe a sunset or a different color, northern lights, whatever. So no, as I say, I'm not going to go over the top with the wilted violet, but yeah, it's basically down the bottom here that you get the color. So that's all I'm going to do with that. So I'm going to put that to one side along with that one and clean my thing, and then I'm just going to get my little block. That's how I keep the masks in place. It's just a rolled up bit of mask 3D, no, not well, it's Crafter's Companion low tack tape, that's what I'm looking for. And I've just put a little bit on the bottom, on the top there. I'm just going to place that over the top, and then I'm going to go in with Lost Shadow. And again, I am not going to go over the top with this, so and I'm just going to dab it down because of this stencil being quite fragile in places. So and you can go as, I mean, you can, there's hickory smoke as well, but I just thought that would be a bit too much, and I think I've done enough there just to give me a subtle hint of the surface of the moon. So I can remove that, and then you can see what I've done. And if I hold that up to, well, you can see it's very subtle, and that's what I like. So I can put that now to one side. I must remember to clean those later. So what we've done so far is basically created our sky, we've done our moon, we've masked off our winter scene down the bottom here, and basically we are now in a position to stamp our Santa flying happily across the sky. So I have got, and this is a Linky-licious one if I can find it, because I did put it down somewhere. I did have it. I'm gonna need those in a minute. Here it is. Trying to get away from me. So yes, so I have got, if you've got again, if you've got a flying Santa, you can stamp this going across the moon, and that will just give it a nice bit of a Christmas feel. So we've got our carrier sheet, we've got our stamp. So, and I have it diagonally. You can have it going across, you can go that way, that way. So it's up to you, whatever way you decide to have it. And I'm going to pick my stamp up, and then I'm going to ink it. And this time I'm going to go in with the Onyx Black, which is another waterproof ink pad, and we just ink up our stamp just like so. Again, light, very light tapping all over the stamp. Lid back on the, and then just hover to see where you would like to place it. And then once you go down, stay down for a couple minutes, keep one hand on the stamp block and press down with the other hand, so you got a firm image, hopefully. And then just give that a moment or two, and there we have our Santa flying happily across the moon. How cool is that? So far so good. So let's again clean our stamp, and get a baby wipe, put that, and then give that. And the next thing we're now going to do is put our snow in. So put that to one side. We can put these back onto him with the carrier sheet, so we don't lose them. We don't want that to happen, do we? And those can go back into its packet like so, so we know where they belong. Put those to one side. Might need that. Put that over. That goes with that. So we can put those. Cool. Right. So next thing is bring our sheet of paper. We are going to need our embossing powder, and I have got the Sentimentally Yours Superfine white embossing powder. There you go. We're going to need that. That can go back because we don't need that. So what we need to do now is what I'm going to do now is make sure all this ink is perfectly dry, because as many of you know, distress inks take a bit longer to dry because of the nature of the ink pad. So because I'm going to emboss, if I potentially put embossing powder down on all that, it will cover the whole thing potentially, which obviously we don't want. We want snow. So a quick whiz over with your, and this is good because this will heat up the heat gun as well, so when we come to emboss it won't take so long to heat up because it's already heated, if that makes sense. So okay, so I think that is okay. That feels dry to me. So in this collection of Tim Holtz Winterscapes, you have got snow. So, and what we need to do is get rid of any fingerprints or marks that might have transferred onto my card. So give that all a really good blending over with your anti-static bag. That can go back in, and then we bring in our Versamark ink pad, and then we just lightly tap all over very gently, ink back on ink pad, and then we just go down, and what we're going to do is cover the top part of the well, we've got to cover all the blue area with snow, basically, is what we're trying to do. So I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, there you go. So there's the beginning of my snow. So, and we just lift this back into our pot. We don't want to waste it, naturally. You've paid a bit of good money for that, so that can go back into the pot. That is all good. Make sure you screw the lid back on, and then we bring back in our heat gun, and we just heat this. Now, I don't know if you can see that, I have got embossing powder on my Santas. Do you see that? They were still a little bit damp. And I'm glad that's happened, because that's just brush that away. So there you go. Good job I spotted that, and something just to keep an eye on. So obviously that ink wasn't all that dry, it was still possibly a little bit damp, so it just needed a little bit more with the heat gun. So I just need to be aware of that when I come over and do the other bits. So that's our first bit done. We just need to ink up our snow again, and then bring that back over, and then I'm just going to go in like that, and in with the embossing powder, and again make sure, well, hopefully now, because I've used the heat gun, it's dried the ink, and it has more or less. So I've just got a little bit on those last two reindeer, so they can put that back in there, put the excess back into the pot, repeat the same. And you can tell you've done it because it goes a nice shiny white, as you can see there, which is cool. So we just do it again. I just want to, it's probably because of the heat now, but hey ho. And then I'm just going to do down the bottom here with my anti-static, and then put that back in there. Continue inking this up, and then we have got and then a bit more embossing powder. Put that back on there, and then excess back into our pot. And then we just heat set that again. Cool. Right, so let's do the bit on the other side. So again, we need to just ink up our, and just make sure everything's just down this bit. Don't know. That little. And then we can, hopefully, this will be the last one. Cool. And we just put this back into our pot again. Nearly. And go there, and then we just heat emboss this last little bit. Of course, when it goes white and shiny, you know that's heat embossed, that's been set. And I don't think I need to do any more on that. I'm quite happy with that. I've got the suggestion that I'm in the middle of a blizzard. So, and that's good enough for me. So, okay. So, we can peel off our mask. And we can put that to one side because we don't need that. And then what we can do is the last few bits of finishing touches to our little scene, but I'm going to clean this one first. And that's not working, so let's get a little bit of this. And then just over with. And that be enough, and then we can just go in with our and then that is our stamp clean, so we know that is good to go the next time we want to use it. That can go back on its carrier sheet, and then that is basically. So what we're going to do now is put that away, put our Versamark away, because we won't be needing that, because we're just going to do a little bit of colouring and a little bit of stenciling. So so what I'm going to do is just concentrate on the trees and the log cabin now. So a little bit of a hint of colouring, just a hint, so we can put our oh, sorry, excuse me, pick up brush, put that away, we don't need those. And I'm just going to bring in my right, these are the Tim Holtz Distress Watercolour pencils. This is set 3, and this is the one with Rustic Wilderness. So I'm just going to use my water pen, and I'm not going to go over the top with this. I'm just going to just give it a hint of that they are an evergreen tree. So I'm just gonna again, I'm just not going to go over the top with this. Just a bit of green, as I say, just to emphasize the fact that, well, actually these are trees and they are green in the winter still. So I just want to give it doesn't matter. I'm not being too overly worried about this. As I say, I just want to give it a little bit of green. I think I'm good with that. A little bit over there on that tree. Good. So, and that's basically all you need to do. You don't need anything other than that. And then we just want a bit of brown. So I'm going to go in with a walnut stain, which is that one. So clean my brush, get the green off, and then just go in with walnut stain. So I just want to hit again, just a hint of colour to emphasize the fact that actually this is a log cabin. And I just want it and that's all it needs, really. Nothing too over the top. There we go. Cool. And that is basically it with the colouring. And I just might go in with, what one did I use? Tumble Glass, which is this one here, which is a very pale blue, which obviously, if you remember, is the one that I used in the sky. So I'm going to again just bring this in and just a little bit on the bottom here, just a hint of a subtle colour of blue just on the bottom of where the snow is, where my snow line is. Again, don't have to be too fussy about this. A hint of colour is always good, and that's all I need. And then these are good to go back. And the last thing, I've brought in my little stencil here, and I'm just going to get and retrieve And I'm just going to put in some hills, some like and again, because this is a light colour, there we go, and that is it. That's all I'm doing with that. So, okay, and that is basically our landscape done. So I'm going to just move all this out of the way. And what we're going to do now is make sure that is clean, which it is. Right, I'm going to mat and layer it. So I'm going to bring in my piece of card. So, okay, so double-sided tape down the 4 edges of the piece of artwork, and we have just got one more little bit to do. Trim that off a little. Oh, sorry, trim that off, and then usual trick, just go over with a bone folder just to make sure that has done its job, and then we just peel back and take off the top bit, and then that can go onto our matte card, and then get rid of this. Now, okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use, these are called perfect layers. There you go, and they come in sets of 3. So basically what they do, and I've had mine for absolute years, and I think they are still available. I've got one missing. Would you? No, I haven't. There we go. So basically, you've got 4. So you've got 1 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and then it goes down to 5/16, 3/16, 1/2 inch, and 1/16. Those are all your different layers that you can get. I always tend to stick with 1/8 of an inch because I think that is quite a nice width. Now, how you use them is, as you can see, when I turn it over or turn it this way, the 1/8 is reading the right way. So if I turn it over, that little bit there, that is your guide, so you know that is going to be 1/8 of an inch. If I turn it over that way, you've got the 1/4 of an inch, so that is your 1/4 of an inch width. So that will give you a 1/4 of an inch layer, but I always stick with 1/8 of an inch because I think that's a nice little size. So again, that is my 1/8 of an inch border. Now the way these work is you just slide it up and it catches. So it catch where that 1/8 of an inch lip is, as it were. You can see it catches on that edge. So between that and where you're going to cut will be 1/8 of an inch. So you get your cutting knife and you just go and there you have your 1/8 of an inch border all the way down your card. Turn it over, make sure you've got the right one. Yes, so that's my 1/8 of an, and you can feel it because as you slide it along, it doesn't want to go any further, if that makes sense. So yeah, and again, so down it goes, and there you have your 1/8 of an inch border all the way down your card. Don't worry about that, I'm going to sort that out. So if we bring our card blank in, that will give me just enough all the way down. So mat and layer, so we just, and that's how you use your perfect layers. And I've had them for years, and it's just practice, and it's a good way of mat and layering your cards. And I will show you something else as well in a minute that these are good at. Let me just finish this one, and then we'll just add the last finishing touch to our piece of artwork, and then that will virtually be it. So let me just take this off. Peel these back. Should have gone over with a bone folder, but it looks as though it's okay. It's going to come off easily enough. And then peel that one back. So I just want to be a little bit mindful of this one. Because I haven't allowed myself a lot of room, but there we go. I'm just going to bring that down. Peel that off. Sorry, knocked you again. Put all this away. Now I'm just going to trim this bit off here. So get your trimmer and just carefully just and that's trimmed your card up. So we have now, and then I'm just going to get my fine tip applicator and my just ordinary PV glue, and I'm just going to dot in the white areas that I've left glue, because then I'm just going to go over with some glamour dust, which is like a fine glitter. You can use fine glitter if you want. It's absolutely fine. Underneath the house, on the roof, down the side eaves, and a little bit on the snow where we've put our little and clean the top. And this is what I use, Glamour Dust Deco Art. I've had it for years. There's a gold and a crystal. I think this is the crystal, which is it's just so nice. And it just one of those things that just goes on and on and on and on. So just sprinkle that on, and it's just sticks obviously to the glue. And then take the top off, and then pour this back into your pot, exactly the way you do with embossing powder. And there we have one finished Christmas card. I'll put that to one side to dry. Now, what I was going to show you is if you've got a piece of card, let me just get that'll do. Let me just trim this. Right, so for example, going back to the turn that down a little bit more. So going back to our little, and these why these perfect layers are so good, because of what I'm just about to show you, and I'm going to do it deliberately so you can see how good they actually work. And then Sod's Law being what it is, I'll probably mess it up, but I doubt it. Have faith, I can do this. So I'm going to just push that down so I've got a nice, and I will use one of the other rules. So just fold that over. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this deliberately. I'm going to just, so you put it down and it's not straight, okay? Doesn't matter, it really doesn't matter. So let's go for the 1/2 inch this time. So my oh, that's big. Probably need something smaller than that actually now. Let's go for the 1/4 inch. So, and if the ruler is not gripping it, just lift the corner of your card a little bit and then it will grip it. And then just cut away. So lift with the edge of your lift. So just lift each corner as you go around. And make sure it's buttered up properly. And then last but not least, there you go, and it's also squared off your card. Even though you've put it down wonky, it's straightened it up for you with a 1/4 inch border all the way around. Cool. Thank you very much for your company. Thank you for joining me. Please like and subscribe and hit that bell below for future notifications on my videos. And if you can like and share the videos to your own pages, your own Facebook groups, whatever social media platforms you're on, that'd be absolutely awesome. Thank you very much for your company and see you next time. Bye for now.